Welcome to this third episode of this Gold Coast studio tour series. I went to visit Guy and Jake at Serotonin Production in Gilston. We had such a great chat, and Guy and Jake shared such valuable information. Stick around to see the video because you'd love the studio as well and all their gear. If you're new to this channel and you like the content, please consider to subscribe. Also, if you're around the Gold Coast area and you have like an amazing setup, home studio, or if you know a mate that owns a recording studio, let me know in the comment and I will feature it in the channel. Hope you enjoy the video. Ciao guys.
Guy and I would just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we work here in Gilston and Hugenbeck country.
We are here with Guy and Jake from a Serotonin Production. Is there something obviously related with happiness here?
Yes, chemical release from music, sunshine, happiness.
Where is it from? Where was the idea behind?
I had a band in uni like 25 years ago, something like that. They're called Serotonin. We were like a 17-piece funk band. It was a nightmare.
17-piece?
Playing any show whatsoever.
Nice.
But yeah, it was stuck from that. It's like chemical release from happiness or sunshine, music.
Guy, you've been in music production for a while.
Yes, quite a while.
Tell us how long?
25 odd years or something. I was studying engineering and then kind of moved over to music.
Okay, you were studying engineer first then?
Yeah, I was doing robotics at high school. Oh. And actually won a PlayStation tournament and won $5,000 and went and bought a sampler. Yeah. And I was like, so I'm going to say 17.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, a long time ago. Gran Turismo 1, PlayStation 1. But yeah, bought some music gear and got into music and went to the conservatory on the Gold Coast. And we were
at the Griffith?
Yeah, we were the first year through that course. They had the new course and I ended up working there and building the studios for about 7-8 years down there and teaching and lecturing by the end of it.
You built the studio at the campus?
Yes, the poppy music studios down there.
Has it been dismantled?
It has been dismantled, unfortunately. That's where I met Jake and a whole bunch of musos on the coast. So yeah.
So you met the guys obviously at the campus at the Griffith?
Yeah, pretty much. I think, went to uni at the studios that you just mentioned, obviously, and I think we kind of just became friends pretty quick. Like, I remember skipping ahead and going to the second year business class in first year. I was like, man, I need to get my hands dirty. So, and I was hanging out at his place just doing some intern stuff, and it's kind of been like a flat decade almost since.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's only a year.
Long-term relation.
Hang on, what year was it?
Yeah. And I checked myself, I have to do that at least like once a month at this point. But it's good. Yeah, so just been making music together finally now as well. Like playing and dance together now. So.
What instruments you guys playing? Tell us.
Well, Jake is an amazing drummer.
Jake
is the drummer and percussionist, so he does all our session work and percussion, but he's playing keys now, and we're both starting to sing, which is cool.
Starting to sing?
Yeah, so we got a band, we're on tour Japan in about a month and a half.
Oh, cool.
So we got 6 shows in Japan, a couple on the Gold Coast and Brisbane.
You both going with the
we're in the
band?
So it's my wife and us and one of our other good mates, Kirk, from the band.
Oh, cool.
So it's a business trip, party / tour, holiday, fun thing.
So much fun.
Yeah, but I play bass and keys and play guitar for the first time in my life at this tour, which is pretty terrifying.
So you say, Guy, you built a studio 7-8 years ago.
I had many studios. I had a house in Ashmore that I bought when I was like 22. I was lecturing at uni and running the studios at Griffith from I'm going to go 2002 to 2009 or so, and set up the studios there and taught that course. And then had a house in Ashmore, which got a 4-bedroom house that turned into a 1-bedroom house and studio with drum kits in the lounge room. That was 15 years of my life.
That's fun, though.
Yeah, and then we moved here about a year and a half ago. So we got 6 acres in Gilston and built this studio.
Let's talk about that, yes. Off camera, you were telling me you got all the tickets in order to build everything.
Yes.
How long you've been working on this structure here?
I feel like 8 months, but it was probably more like 14 to 16 months.
Yeah, I feel like I remember we got like a memory on social media or whatever that popped up, and we were like, "It's been a year." what?
It's been a year.
Since the plastering pain and
Yeah.
but it was a lot of problem getting timber. This was kind of just after COVID, and there was timber shortage, and then there was a plaster shortage, and then there was a steel shortage.
Yeah, true.
One thing after another. I don't think anything went well the first time, but I built studios before, but not my own. And as I've told you before, we're looking at building a much bigger complex up the hill here. So this was a bit of a test, acoustics-wise and construction-wise. So with that big ton of plasterboard in here and 7 kilometres of timber.
What did you use for plasterboard? The 5/8 inch?
Yeah, 16 mil fire check.
Okay.
3 layers of that.
3 layers of that, yeah.
Floating floors, all the rooms are isolated, all the walls are offset from each other, so no perpendicular, there's no standing waves. And they're aiming for like a really nice even reverb time, about 1.2 seconds to get a nice light.
Okay, so you really went into the detail and that.
Yeah, so I taught acoustics at SAE for quite a number of years. And I have my physics degree in astrobiology and a master's in creative industry, so that exists.
Do you do consultations?
I do, yes. So we do some courtrooms and stadiums and studios and housing, and we can help a lot of our friends out with the maths and, you know, the practical soundproofing ideas without spending millions of dollars on
there you go.
Yeah.
We'll talk about this later.
Giggling because Damiano's got this cheesy grin on his face for having Damiano. So,
We can sort you out.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's music that we love and musicians. So we have a lot of friends that we're happy to help out. I think it's where the teaching started as well. Just helping all your friends get things done. And you can't afford to pay people to do this stuff in music. So I think when I was younger, our house flooded and I woke up and there was a biblical level of water through the house.
Gosh.
And I couldn't get a plumber out for less than $300. And I found a plumbing course online that was $110. And so it was cheaper to do the plumbing course
Then actually
Go get
pulling
stuff
the plumber. Isn't it crazy?
2 months later, we're a plumber and water's fixed. So that kind of set me on down that path of like, I'll just do this myself.
So Jake, did you take the tickets as well?
No, well, so I was kind of here helping out whenever a second set of hands needed, because I remember we flipped one of the frames to, so like lots of the plasterboard in particular as well, and just, I guess, like brainstorming was like, a big part of it. And we had so many long, extensive chats about, but like, what if we put this here, we could have a cupboard up the back, and we could, what if we put like, will it be 2 rectangles or 3 triangles? And, like, the floor plan was crazy for the first, like, I guess, for, I reckon, like a month of chats, and then...
Well, you need a good plan.
It was a lot of, like, how are we going to get that up there?
Yeah.
This seems very dangerous. You hold that while I climb up this ladder. There's one plasterboard above us here, the naughty panel.
Yes.
So I think we put up and down 4 times.
I shouldn't be sitting right here.
That's one plasterboard that I will never forget the pain of.
You got 3 layers on the ceiling as well?
Yeah, we have to do 1 layer and then seal it all around at the edges. And those are isolated from the other rooms and floating off the floor. And then a second layer of plasterboard and seal all the gaps on that and spacker. Then green glue, which is very expensive. And then a third layer of plasterboard. Which is, by then you're just shaking and putting up plasterboard and like, I hate plasterboard, I hate plasterboard.
Yeah. Oh my god.
So I feel like I was mostly emotional support when it came down to those moments.
Lots of
like,
swearing.
We'll get this done.
Because they are heavy.
Bruised hands and arms.
And my god.
And I think for the acoustic sense, nothing was square. So it's not, we don't want any parallel walls, any square surfaces. So building a house, it's easy, but if you're building a parallelogram 3 times over, it was horrific. I think was the only word I could find.
The outcome was amazing. So you guys, you did a very good job and impressive. You obviously got bands coming in, artists. Do you do like engineering, but you also produce some of these artists?
Yeah,
you guys.
Mostly producing, I would say. Over the years, anything audio related. So bands and albums are our main point of goal. And I think from working in the industry for this long and teaching how to be a creative entrepreneur and doing all this stuff, studios are very difficult to earn money, but producers earn money. So mainly albums that we make and produce, clients that we get in and help them through that process of, ideating the album and songwriting and recording and production and editing and mixing and mastering, but then also advising them on release strategy and planning because we run a label as well. So it's a big part of the package because it's
awesome.
Disturbing and painful to see our friends sort of release music and get 10 plays or see 4 people at the show and, did that enough years to feel the pain, and so we help a lot of that. And I think
so you take them by hands from the start, from the get-go through all the process.
That's super important.
That's very
we do like film work and computer game work.
I saw that.
I do audio installations. Most of my sculptures are large musical instruments with audio in them.
Nice.
And then TV ads, anything audio related. That stuff feels real easy, like a little holiday.
Oh, okay.
And I don't think we do too much live sound anymore, but mainly festivals if I was mixing.
But Jake, you do some live sound though still, isn't it?
Yeah. So I was obviously working at Mo's when we personally met together.
Yes.
Yeah, a handful of time. I think I was there for about a year and a half, and then kind of freelance still, like from time to time on that kind of front. So it's kind of, I think, going back to what you were talking about in regarding like the artist support, it's kind of about multiple income streams, I think. But I'm really grateful to be able to spend pretty much all of my time here at the moment. With guy support and then the place, it's a complete privilege to be able to spend time here, like as a full-time job and help artists like yourself and whoever's watching, create in this kind of sacred space for me, like regarding all the stuff you're talking about with the soundproofing and all of that, like it's kind of, it's surreal at times. It's the multiple income streams, I think, I feel like the community that's surrounding the studio with the open days in particular, which has been really, really like amazing to see, as well as like the support that guys always shown me and other artists. Like I've seen that consistently over a decade now, to foster that and be a part of that is a complete privilege. So it's super important.
Yeah, well said. I think that's the whole point of it, We can make money doing a lot of things, and the tech side is important. And like I'm a nerd, an audio nerd. Well,
which we will go through that, obviously, because we had to. We really need to go through that.
I think that the sacred space that we create for artists. It's so hard to be an artist and musician. You spend all that time learning your instrument and writing a song, and you come in and so many stories from artists and horror stories with grumpy engineers or producers or people that don't listen to them. No, we're not doing that. It's like, whose album is this? And so we make our own albums ourselves and we're musicians, and that's where we get our creative energy out. But with our clients here, we're helping them realize they've got their dream, their goals, and I think the space is quite sacred for that, and that's what we build. And we surround ourselves with the awards that we've won. We surround ourselves with the albums that we've made and the previous products. And I think all of our clients are return clients and friends. And I think I always end up sliding into that band just like a week before they play a major festival. Say, they need a tambourine player. So we go on tour with them sometimes and hang out with them. And 2 of the artists that are coming on tour with us, Japan, in about a month and a half. So
good.
They were clients and then become great friends. And I think that's important, that the music is about people and community, particularly because it's hard being a musician. I think it's hard working the arts, being an artist. It's a nightmare trying to earn an income, and to have someone listen to your music and actually help you with it and become friends and direct it with it. That's a super important part of our job.
Please come hang out.
Yes.
Right? It's good.
Some valuable lessons here.
It's important, I think, and we're so blessed to have this property. It took me 4.5 years to get this move sorted out. We've got this beautiful 6 acres that is going to be landscaped over the next 40 years of my life. And we have a very large facility going out the hill. So this was a bit of a test.
Tell us a little bit. Give us a little preview of what you're planning for this.
So I think
bubble up here.
The control room's never big enough for the studio. This is alright. We're about 60 square meters here. But it was just to get back to work so we could earn the money and keep doing things. I didn't have a studio for about 9 months when we moved, and that was horrific. Mixing in a cinema room or in my bedroom, I was lost after 20 years of not having a studio. But the building up here will be about 8 to 12 times the size of this. So we're looking at about 800 square meters, 8-meter ceilings, 3 or 4 studios, large recording hall, live rooms, and setting up space where we can kind of help foster a bunch of producers and engineers. I guess I've been teaching music and production for 22 years. I think I've been a teacher as my part-time, like 2 days a week, lecturing at a few different unis. And
where are you at CAE at the moment?
at SAE, yeah. So I'm teaching creative industries with AI for arts and augmented reality. And then teaching hybrid and virtual streaming technology and major production projects, so recording and music. Back to teaching music theory again. The first years, which is kind of a bit of fun. Here's chords. We're back down here again. But I think there's so many passionate creatives, and it's inspiring to be able to help them get a bit of a leg up in the industry. And so kind of see myself moving more from production more into sort of a mentoring role and helping a whole bunch of producers kind of get a bit of confidence and get in there. We've already got a team that me and Jake have been helping to get in and get them jobs and get them using the studio, and they get the keys to this place and come in, record a band, we'll help you secure the job, we'll get the clients, help you through that, help you with the mixes, help you with the tech stuff. It's really inspiring to see them kind of grow and learn, I guess, along the way. But that's what the space is about. It's about community. I think we'll be doing all sorts of things from live events and live drawing all the way through to sculpture work. And
we'll definitely need spaces like that.
Yeah, I get a bit carried away sometimes, so I just need a big open space to start with, and then I'll be building it. But it'll be 40 years of me I just need to finish the skirting, just carving off this bit. I haven't finished carving this handrail down here. I'll get it finished somewhere and just die in the corner. And that'll be it's done.
It's done.
Have you seen Guy for like 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Check the crawl space and be like,
Wife's given up. He's never coming home. The industry is tough, but no more tougher than the film industry or other, fashion industries. Horrific. The word again. But I think there's so many lovely musicians, and all my friends are musicians, and the beautiful people that'll like hug you hello and actually pay attention to what's going on. And we did the same thing here. We don't, focus on booking hourly things. So we play per song and kind of get the project done. If that project takes 2 years, then so be it. We've always got that extra mile and get that extra day of recording. And if they're not in a good mood, then we just can it. And we don't book 2 clients on the same day, an hour late. Just chill out, play some PlayStation and relax, and they'll be here at some point. So I think that relaxed attitude is super important when you're working art. It's definitely a balance between art and commercialism, and trying to deliver them a product that they're happy with, that also can enable them to earn some income, to be sustainable in their lives. And I like paying my rent and buying food and not starving to death. They're like some of my favourite things.
Let's talk about nerd stuff. What's the centerpiece of the studio anyway?
Summing amps are a big thing for me. The balance between a hybrid and analog studio is important. Though it would be nice to have a 500,000.
That's the Neve.
With the Neve and the SSL summing amp. So this is an analog combination of the sounds.
Yeah.
So we have an analog front end, a whole bunch of Neve and SSL preamps, a bunch of outboard compressors and nice mics. So we capture that into a digital system with very nice links converters, high quality converters. Basically mixing that with EQ and compression in the box in addition to this, but then not bouncing it to this, which would be a computer simulation of combining all the tracks together, an equation if you like, that Pro Tools or Ableton or Logic run. And it's sometimes why Pro Tools sounds better than Logic or Ableton to me when combining audio, because their equation for combining those multiple tracks is better. But we actually run all our individual sounds and separate waveform shapes out through our summing amps. And so that is simulating what it would sound like if it was run through an analog console. And so it's analog mixing and summing of those multiple channels, and then that master is then getting pumped back through the analog gear and converters to the studio. So I guess that down there would be the heart of the studio. The knee height, asking people not to kick it, please. Away from touching frying hands. But there's, I think, lots of essential pieces of equipment. I think I have just as much music gear as I do production gear these days. After years of learning, it's much easier. If a band comes in and they're young, they don't have that nice amp to just use this very nice original Mesa amp, or this 1982 Marshall, or this 67 Fender, and same with the guitars, and the basses, and the drum kits. So the music gears are probably as important as the production equipment. But as you notice, I do like 1176 compressors, so they are my favourite.
There's quite a few.
The colours available and the tones and the sounds is important. So it's
a ludicrous combination.
Do it. Having gear on board to, we use the artist gear, but like there's so many little bits of things like this Eventide H3000 harmonizer is a beautiful piece of equipment that, going to give you 1,000 different guitar tones and colours and delays and effects and choruses, along with the pedals and the amps. But also just having the high-end real thing, the real original 92 and the real 67 blackface Fenders and those things plus all the pedals. It looks nice and neat at the moment, but if we had a guitar day, it'd be pedals and cables running left, right and centre. And they're the best times. I think you lose track and spent 14 hours turning off pedals and turning things on just to get one little pre-chorus sound for 3 bars. So we got and it was the best pre-chorus guitar sound ever made. But I think that's a little bit of fun. I'm not sure how much connection the public has with that, but I definitely think that the artist himself has so much fun and connection with that. And if they think they've got the right sound and the right part, they're going to play not just the correct musical notes and timing, but a bit of magic into it. Of soul and passion comes from everything from being able to dim the lights in the studio and control things.
Alright, so I was asking to show me a little bit around on the live room and all the mic collection you guys have. So.
Yes, we have most of our mics up here on the mic wall with the high quality Bunnings broom holders. I think mics get broken a lot, so it's good to have things on the stand to be able to get things done quickly. I have a lot of mics. I have a mic preamp Fabergé egg problem in my life, whereas I need to have the same amount of preamps as mics in my life. And if I have more mics than preamps, I'm like, why do I own that mic? I can't even plug it in, so I got to buy another preamp. And then I forget that I ordered that preamp 6 months ago and something will show up in the mail. I'm like, I now need to buy another mic. And so I'll buy another mic and then I'll open a cupboard in the laundry at home and I'll be like, oh, there's a whole mic in here. I forgot about this. And so it's a problem. And Jake's here to stop me buying microphones and preamps.
I'm just as bad. I literally found a bag of laundry the other day, literally today, and I was like, why is it so heavy? Oh, there's a kick drum mic in here. All right, yeehaw.
There's certain mics that everyone uses, and I think after a while you get to know the sound of them. Probably my main vocal mic would be the U87. It's a Neumann mic through here in our vocal booth. That's like a standard vocal mic that we love. And large diaphragm condenser, along with the C414s, which are these ones here, which are great for male vocals and room mics. But they're a little bit scratchy for female vocals, but they're beautiful room mic and beautiful acoustic guitar and piano and things like organ. Got to have 57s, so there's a whole bunch of SM57s. They're like the snare microphone, the tom microphone, the distorted guitar mic, and the 421. And those two mics is your heavy metal guitar sound. And I probably started out in metal music. I used to be in a new metal band in the early 2000s called Noosphere.
Oh, you got the Royer there.
Yeah, the Royer River mics are nice. And the SM7B is really handy. We've got a couple of KM184 Neumann pencil microphones, and then usual sort of kick drum microphones. If I pull off all these little leprechaun baggies that we use to just keep mics in a good condition. The D112 is a beautiful kick drum microphone. It's like the kick drum mic. That sounds really nice in didgeridoo as well. If you ever mic'd up a didge, that is the didge mic. The Beta 52 is our other kick drum mic. It really just depends on genre. Like there's kick mics and there's bass mics. Jake is the drummer, but drums are probably my favourite thing to record. And this room is built for tracking drums and acoustically set with the right reverb tone and the balance and the space for just a beautiful live drum sound. Balance reverb at 200 hertz and 400 hertz and 800 hertz and 1K and 2K, all trailing at the same time with a nice diffused echo, no flat surfaces, no parallel walls, no standing waves, no nodal points. It's a balanced, even, nice live room. I won't clap or hit a snare in here because it'll blow out your mic. So the mics are just about capturing that performance in that space. And I think when I was younger, I cared a lot more about the mics. And I do like mics, but I will buy more and we will have more.
Addiction. Let's be honest.
At some
We
point,
don't like that word.
Yeah. We don't like the word.
you need to start. We've got a couple of 58s that we use for jamming because that's where we've been rehearsing the last couple of weeks.
Oh, you're rehearsing as well in here. Yeah.
Yes, I wouldn't use those in the studio. But they're live mics.
Yeah, I see you guys have other toys around here. You got that Moog.
Moog Liberation. So this is the only guitar Moog ever made. And so there's not a lot of these left. There's only 7 or 8 of these left. And it's very heavy. think I pulled my back out playing this at Big Day Out
Oh.
many years ago. But Paul down at Tech Central on the Gold Coast has just finished replacing and repairing these. I was in a factory in Japan on a tour and I found a spare set of knobs in a dusty shelf at the Moog factory for this, and they only had one set in a weird rotted out box with a complete replacement set of all the filters and knobs and switches, which was a ridiculous find for this thing because this is very vintage, maybe 15 grand to the right collector. But it's nice to have that back. We've got a beautiful Maton, thanks to Maton Guitars. Gave us a great deal on that. A beautiful jazz bass. That's my baby that I play on tour live. And then we got the amps that you were talking about before. Yeah. So we have a custom-made cab with a Celestion greenback, Celestion vintage, a British Blue Dog, and a Jensen metal tone. So they all have slightly different tones, and so we change the speaker depending on the tone that we like. Original 92 Mesa, original 67 blackface that's put into an old basement head. Because we usually like having the head separated in there, and we run long cables through the wall. So we use our powered speaker cables that come through the wall here, and so we can sit in the control room there with the head and have the cab in here roaring. It's a lot easier to talk to the client and the guitarist, and that if there were headphones, we can comfortably play in there and have it all mic'd up and isolated in here. Same with the bass sound. Ampeg bass heads, it's essential. Push the Ampeg Fender combination. I am not the greatest bass player in the world, but I do love nice equipment. And I think working as a producer for so many years, it's spoiled for a choice to be able to take this stuff on stage.
Do you guys have like go-to kit? I'll probably ask Jay.
Yeah. So we've got a CNC. It's essentially like a vintage style drum set that's handcrafted in America by CNC, and I would shout out to Greg from the cartel for hooking me up with the shells. It's kind of a jelly bean kit, and I guess we'll probably show you a photo or something up on the video. But basically, it's like it was a very lucky buy because it came in as like leftovers, but they're all the same model. But the finish is like kind of not all uniform, but it's it's really pretty, and I kind of fell in love with it the second I saw it, and it was like, oh, yeah, that's the thing, when an instrument picks you, right? So it's really, really just super good for like rock tones, but like big bottom-esque vibes, I think, is the drums, as far as I'm aware, are all kind of built to basically model that style of like vintage Ludwig, but with just like a modern touch, essentially, so like maintenance is super easy and all of that, And I think at the moment we usually rock, it's a 20-inch kick, and with usually 13 and 16, but I have 12-inch tom as well. And we have this lovely, this is my workhorse personally, it's the Metro, 6x5 deep, and I think just 14-inch. Usually rocking single ply heads on everything, but we can also, I think I have like a handful of double ply heads in stock. But that's the Metro stuff's like handmade in Australia by Paul Worry. He's actually in Queensland as well, so shout out to Paul for sure, because I've been playing this guy for a long time. It's I think what made probably like 50% of the records that I played on. We also have a Ludwig, it's an Acrolite, the old student drum, but like I think it's older than me. It's like super renowned for like Motown sounds, which is really, really lovely to have like an aluminium drum in contrast to the wood tones. And that thing, because it's 8 lug, it can get real fat and punchy. And I'm just about to fit it out with some new snare wires actually that I'm really excited about. So
How's the sound in this room right now?
It's it's a real privilege to watch other drummers when I've like had the opportunity and privilege to record other performers come in and just kind of get gobsmacked by the sound. They're like, I think a lot of the time, kind of going back to what Guy was saying about the really, really dead, dry sound of like a practice or rehearsal space, and they come in here and they're like, cool, and they're like, oh, whoa, that's how I want the end product to sound. Like, and it's really, really wild, because a lot of the feedback that I get is that like, oh man, these already sound mixed, which is just such a like a massive compliment. You know, like that's the
Yeah.
highest compliment you could possibly get when it comes back to like all the stuff we're talking about, building and the you know, non-uniform walls and just all of the design stuff that we, you know, that you brained up largely, that we discussed for months before we can't even put anything up, right?
The room is a drum.
Yes, exactly.
You're playing drums inside a much larger, very expensive, heavy drum that we've tuned to perfection.
Yeah. I think this. I don't know about this. I know the CNC that we have is like it's 3 layers of wood. It's like maple and then mahogany on the inside and then maple again. But it's just like the plasterboard, right? So 3 layers of plasterboard, green goo, plasterboard, green wood, plasterboard.
Yeah, I think the open slats are the same with the wood on the drums. In my head, the oak trim is like set at right angles. The Tasmanian red oak down the bottom, 6 grand worth of this stuff is acoustically set. You know, floating on the slab with just like no vibration. It's all those things are to me is like a drum. I would just go out and buy like a DW's collector's edition, and Jake would be like, "I didn't buy that kit, did you?" I was like, "I want it. I'm in System of a Down. It's 1997. I'm having a good time." But yeah, I think I hear the same tones in drums. I wish I could play the kit as well, but Jake's an amazing drum. But I hear the tones and the way Jake tunes it is he's tuning it to the room. You tune it to the sound of what's happening at that resonance that's happening in the space it's basically like being inside a large drum and having a small drum kit inside that. And yeah, you definitely hear some pro drummers coming with a good kit, and you can hear that sound in the room where it's just perfect. And so the mics are like just kind of point the mic somewhere there. We got. I say that, but
you got a strategy, but like
very specific where I put mics. Not that mic there, but in terms of the right place. But yeah, it's just point it at the kit and you're good to go.
If anyone wants to work here at Serotonin Production with Guy and Jake, what's your best contact?
Yeah, it's definitely the website's a good site to start. So serotoninproductions.com. But you can Guy Cooper and Jake Morton. You can find us on Google quite easily. We've come up on those sites. I've had a website since 1999, so we're pretty well easily found on the internet. But the website's got a whole bunch of info. It's got some recordings of the rooms and drums, and I think more importantly, it's got a lot of our previous productions on the front page. You know, and if you're hiring us as a producer, listen to those. If you don't like those songs and you don't like those recordings and those sounds and those snare tones, don't hire us, because that's the stuff I love. I think that's the biggest thing. We don't list our awards on things anymore because people will hire you because of an award or this many records sold, or it doesn't really connect with us anymore. We want people to, do you like the stuff that we like? Because that's the snare sounds that I like, and the kick sounds and the guitar sounds and the vocal sounds, and I need to be passionately into your music, and we need you to be on board with us to help us do this stuff. But website is the simple answer to that question.
Yes.
But Instagram and Facebook and all the other good places as well is easy enough to find. But we do hire out the studio, dry hire. So we have other engineers and producers can just hire the space and use it themselves. I'll set them up for an hour and then leave them, and they can use the space.
Awesome.
So if you're a producer and engineer and you're looking for somewhere to track, we can get a great drum sound, like cheap and easy on their way. And we're not overpriced because it's hard to make money in music, and we're about sort of hoping to facilitate that passion, that creation that you're making. And we do engineering days, so if you want to produce and just have me or Jake on hand to pull the sounds and mic stuff up. We've got a couple of kids coming in next week to do some songs. We've got the students from Merrimack High, I think. Coming in.
My old high school.
Doing are they? Yeah. Oh, thank you. Anyway, the high school kids are coming in for a day to hang out and do some studio stuff. So yeah, a lot of different things. But I think most of the week we're filled up with clients that me and Jake are producing and working on their whole albums, their packages and their products, and like the people we had in this morning.
So go check their website out.
Yeah.
Well, Guy, Jake, thank you so much for having me. It was so much fun.
Thank you. Thanks for coming by.
And see you guys.
See you soon.
See you.